update on Neil Young because he did get his wish. Spotify has removed most of his music from its streaming platform, save a little bit of that CSNY music. And Spotify has released a statement saying they have detailed content policies in place, have removed over 20,000 podcast episodes related to COVID since the start of the pandemic. Then Neil shot back with the problem with Spotify's audio quality that we talked about. He said many other platforms present my music today in its all high resolution glory, the way it was intended to be heard. While unfortunately, Spotify continues to peddle the lowest quality in music reproduction. So much for art, but now that is in the past for me. Soon my music will live on in a better place.
It's gone to a better place?
It's gone, yeah, Apple streaming or whoever else. But,
it is crazy that idiots like Neil Young, who probably, hopefully, just wanted to use this as an excuse to get his music off the low frequency, whatever platform that was, which is fine if it's just an excuse, but I don't know why you got to throw Joe under the bus. But if you said, since COVID began, and you took at all the people that were deplatformed. I've been pulled off of YouTube. Dr. Drew's been pulled off of YouTube. Alex Berenson's been pulled off of YouTube. Many of the great Barrington declarations been pulled off of it. Everything's been pulled off. The overwhelming majority of what they got pulled off for turned out to either come to fruition or they were correct long before.
Yeah,
it happened.
Or simply, it's just not that far-fetched.
Right. So, all right, there's a virology lab outside of Wuhan. Maybe the disease emanated from that. Oh, we're going to pull you off of YouTube. All right. But 2 years later, when everyone got pulled off of everything, basically turned out to be correct, or certainly wasn't far-fetched, or at least it was an opinion, an informed opinion by people that had credentials. Could we give a pull down the dangerous information shit a break?
Yeah.
How many times are you going to be wrong?
I think you're entitled to be wrong.
Yes.
Like, I don't agree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion. And then other people, again, it's like, who do you choose to listen to? But that's up to you, right? And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. So, But not only are you entitled to be wrong, but you're entitled to say, like, I call Dr. Drew a lot and I go, what's wrong with this theory? Here's my theory. What's going on? Tell me why this is, poke holes in it. Mm-hmm. Tell me what's wrong with it. Have somebody say, you got two coaches on the sideline. It's 4th and 1. One coach wants to do a quarterback sneak. The other wants to do an end around. I want to hear all the ideas. I want to know why those ideas. You can choose, but it doesn't mean your mind's polluted from hearing alternative whatevers. That's the scary part. We're adults.
Yeah.
I hear about stuff like, you hear about different cultures doing different things. Like, in this culture, they love monkey brains. It's a delicatessen. All right, I've heard it's a delicacy. I've heard of it. I'm not doing it. It's not drawing me toward it. This thing, it's an overly simplified way of looking at things, which is, why is someone's opinion dangerous? Their opinion is going to help round out your opinion.
Well, it's also who's saying it, right? I mean, if a doctor's saying it, that's one thing. And if a host or an opinionator or, an athlete or whoever's saying it, well, then that's another thing, right? Like, I mean, you have experts at certain things, and it's up to you to decide who to listen to. So, yes, I got no problem with people. Listen, I'm a comedian. I love crazy theories. It's like, let's have some fun with that one. And then also, if you're listening to me, it's like, hey, listen, I'm a comedian, so not everything I say, like, I've had people, and it's happened more recently, counter a joke with truth. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you understand, like I had this happen. I took a picture on Instagram. It was a Corvette next to a raised Suburban, both parked in a handicapped spaces, right? And I made some comments, and this woman was like, well, you don't know the handicap they might have. And it's like, you know what, lady? It looks funny when a Corvette and a giant Suburban are in a handicap spot. Now, if it was a handicap van with a wheelchair lift, I wouldn't oppose that. Wouldn't be funny at all.
Right.
But it is kind of odd, and it's like this is where people are now. Yeah. So, yeah. So as far as, any kind of theories on, like, listen to who's saying it, and that's my opinion. I'm not going to pull any. I mean, they're doing it in schools now. That's what's really crazy when they start saying, you can't read this book or you can't learn this thing in school.
Well, didn't they
That's even more dangerous than YouTube, in my opinion.
Didn't they take Mouse? I don't know if you're familiar with a book about
Dead
the Holocaust.
Mouse?
No, just Mouse, MAUS. They took that off the shelves in schools on Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Really?
Maybe just bad timing. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah, in Tennessee.
Really? Yeah. But I was going to ask you, Alonzo, because I know a lot of comedians have been vocal about their stuff being taken off of Spotify, and I don't know if that has affected you or if you know.
Well, what the battle is that Spotify wasn't paying royalties, and comics are saying, hey, if you're a musician, right, if you play a song and you write a song, you get both checks. Right. Well, if you're a comic, you only get one, and comics are like, well, we wrote it.
You obviously wrote it.
Yeah, so that's the fight with Spotify, and Spotify is not paying, so a lot of people are pulling their stuff off. But the thing about it is the way their formulas work. Like, your joke would have to be played so much to get any money anyway. Right. Like like you get money when you're on satellite radio and stuff like that. But with Spotify, it's like you get one
fraction of a
$1/10,000th of a penny every time it's heard. So if you're not, Kanye or Drake, where 400 million people, or Taylor Swift, where 400 million people listen to it, the check's not going to be anything anyway. So
is it more of a principled stance?
Yeah, it's the idea of you're the writer, creator, as well as a performer. And in every other, like, on a TV show, right? If you're the writer, you get one check. And then if you're the star, you get another check. Right. And if you're both, like Seinfeld gets paid, Seinfeld gets paid 3 times every time his show airs or whatever. So that's what the fight is.
Thank you for explaining that, because it's been a hot button issue on Twitter. But yeah, I wasn't totally following it.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like insuring your legs, when you're the comedian who I've never heard of, who's making a big stink over this. Are you just trying to get your name out there and act like you're more than you are, because you're really talking about 75 cents a year.
Yeah, and the big names, the Kevin Harts and the
John Mulaney.
Mulaney, those are the ones where it's a fight, because it's a lot of money for them. But like you say, Adam, for most of us, it's like, man, I got to give up that $8.
That's gas money.
I mean, from Spotify. I mean, there's other streaming and other platforms we get paid from, but last I heard, Spotify wasn't covering the car payment this month.
Well, I have so many thoughts about that, but I guess when you're on, it's like Amazon, like Spotify and Amazon, like you do what you want to do. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. But, we're all addicted to Amazon. We're addicted to Spotify. We're addicted to streaming. We're addicted to deliveries.
Yeah, it's again, your choice. It's up to you.
Yeah. Well, Bollywood actress Shilpa Shetty has been cleared of indecency charges in India 15 years after Richard Gere kissed her in public. The charges were ruled groundless, and the Mumbai court found that she was a victim of an unwanted advance from the actor. That's according to the BBC, and I'm going to show you the video in a second. Shetty had been accused of being a perpetrator for not doing more to resist Gere's kiss. Back in 2007, Gere kissed Shetty on the cheek at an AIDS Awards event in Delhi. An arrest warrant was issued for him, but that was thrown out. So this is the 30 seconds that is the reason she was in trouble.
He's holding her hand, kisses her hand.
And she kind of giggles. Now he's putting his arm around her. He turns toward her, kisses both of her cheeks, and then gives her a big old hug. But wait, there's more.
He's got a boner.
Now he's dipping her very low and kissing her on the cheek.
This is Me Too-y.
Me Too. She was brought up on indecency charges.
Yeah, no.
Well, she let him on. It was obvious.
Right. Yeah.
It was obvious.
At an AIDS benefit.
He was just a victim standing there. And she.
Well, would you like to know what his excuse was?
Yeah.
Gere said he issued an apology saying he did it to show that kissing was safe and would not lead to the transmission of HIV. She doesn't have HIV. I looked it up.
Sounds like he has it.
HIV?
Well, how do you send the message?
I guess.
Someone's got to have it.
Yeah, it was a confusing excuse.
I didn't know India was that uptight. It's weird.
Well, maybe that was then. Maybe it's changed.
Well, that was only 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. But I'm glad that she can finally, start to work again and walk the streets.
Yeah.
Prince Andrew demanding a trial in the United States. He's doubling down. He wants to face his accuser, Virginia Giuffre. She was the one who claimed that when she was 17, and we've all seen that picture with his arm around her.
Right.
She was groomed by Ghislaine Maxwell and raped by Prince Andrew at least 3 times, including on the private island owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Virginia filed a lawsuit seeking for punitive damages. That was a civil suit. Paperwork filed this week by Andrew denied that, and his attorneys made a formal request to the court that he be granted a jury trial. At the earliest, that would happen in fall. So this follows Prince Andrew's failed tactic of requesting that his case be dismissed.
He had his sack insured for $7.5 million.
That I buy. And his sweat
not
glands.
Not going to look good in court. What was that interview where he was saying he doesn't sweat?
Was that like, it was Barbara Walters E, but I don't remember who he was talking to. Was it like Leslie Stahl?
Yeah, he sat down with somebody. It was about 2 years ago.
It couldn't have been me. I don't sweat.
And he was like, I couldn't have raped anyone. I don't sweat.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Or maybe she described the guy as big, heavy, sweaty, hairy, or something like that. And he's like, I don't sweat. But I think that's just a pejorative,
right.
Big sweat, sweating like a pig.
Right.
The pigs don't
like a whore
sweat.
in church.
Right.
Well, and also he's been stripped of all.
The horse do swear.
They do
sweat in church, but yeah.
They stripped him of all his titles. Like the royal family wants nothing to do with him. And he says they're going to argue on the grounds of consent and statute of limitations. Not that he didn't do it.
Being stripped of a title you're born into, I don't feel it. Being stripped of a heavyweight title, that one you earned. You know what I mean? Like Jake LaMotta or something, middleweight. But stripped of something you were just born into, I don't feel that sorry.
And he didn't have to get a job. It's not like they took everything and it's like, oh man, now you got to go. You got to join that Reddit group.
Right.
Though I'd watch that sitcom.
Take some job there,
Well, like Prince Harry, they got stripped of their title. I think they're going to land on their feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to strip them. They don't want to pay for their security.
That's
either.
right. Yeah.
That's fine. You want to leave the nest and go move in next to Oprah, go have at it. But
no
pay
one's
for your
out
own
to
security.
get you.
Yeah.
Like you're staying in some rich part of Santa Barbara. Like you're staying in the richest part of a rich city.
Yes.
And you need security. Trust me, no one dangerous is getting into Montecito.
No. Maybe.
The minute you exit the 101, they're like, excuse me, get back on the freeway.
Turn it around.
Head south. All right. You're not, that's just how those neighborhoods are, right?
Yeah. They're
Who's
worried,
he protecting himself
her
from?
dad, really, is about all they got to worry about.
Her dad and her sister.
Her dad and her sister.
Believe me, they got pictures of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's where Ivan Reitman lives, and I've been up to that place.
It's probably very triggering for you to go to Montecito.
Ivan Reitman has a house there with people go, oh, my house has a movie room or bowling alley. His is an amphitheater.
Beat that.
And at the time, he told me that he did one of these moves. Alonzo knows the rich guy move where you go, man, what is that? What do you got, a McLaren, 93 McLaren F1? Yeah. Bought it new in 1993, paid sticker, paid $731,000 for it. Now, let me give you a rich guy code. Humble brag, and you go, Jesus Christ, what's that thing worth today? I don't know. I've been offered $26 million. Turned it down. Yeah. But I don't know what it's worth. It's like, well, you turned down $26 million. So let's just say it's worth at least 20. By the way, the humblest of all brags, the rich guys, they always go, I don't know what it's worth. I don't know what it's worth. I've been offered. Right. And then they give you this crazy mind-blowing number. And then they turned it down, which means it's worth more than that. That's rich guy. Ivan Reitman was like, I was like, oh my God, this place is huge. He's like, I was like, what's this place worth? I don't know. I don't know. Oprah bought her place for $43 million up the street. This is nicer. That's I turned down $26 million for my F1. That's code. That's rich guy talk for better than
Oprah.
Better than
It's
Oprah.
all you need to know.
It's better than Oprah.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, yeah.
We have the clip of him talking to Emily.
Mateless?
Mateless. Yeah, he doesn't sweat or something.
Has made allegations against you. She was very specific about that night. Mm-hmm. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and I simply it was almost impossible for me to
and also
sweat.
when the people in the same family reproduce over and over and over again with cousins, there's a rare disease where we stop sweating.
But that's one of those excuses they're like, come on, you could do better than that. So you didn't sweat from like 1997 to 1999. You specifically,
and not even a real war, Falklands War.
Specifically, like you have a specific time that you didn't sweat because that was the time the crime was committed. Come on, you could do.
See, Alonzo, you know what I would say? I'm sitting right now under hot lights, being called a pedophile in my stately manner. Would you like to touch my forehead? It's bone dry.
Bone dry.
If I could sweat, I'd sure as fuck be sweating now.
Yeah.
But I'm
good.
not.
That's
if
good.
there's ever a time a man could sweat, it'd be right now. I'm wearing a three-piece suit.
No, you got
a light in front of me, and you're calling me a pedophile.
You got to bring in the 4 guys who will share a cell with him when he gets arrested. Then let's see if he doesn't sweat.
Yeah.
Right? Just have those 4 guys stand behind him, say, so we heard you don't sweat, and then we'll see if he...
Well, if I was casting that role, Alonzo, move over, security guard.
You think I haven't played Convict? The Onion movie, baby. The Onion movie. That's right. Every stereotypical big black guy role, Adam, I've done.
Is the Onion movie out yet?
Yeah, it came out. This was back in like 08, 09. Yeah, it was. They tried to redo. Remember Kentucky Fried Movie?
Of course.
Sure.
They tried to redo that. They missed. But I am in it.
Well,
so.
Playing these stereotypical roles is hilarious given your background.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah, it really is. Like I've always told my agent, I said, listen, stop looking for acting roles. Find me where the bad actors get work. You know what I mean? When you see something and you're like, how did he get that job? Like, I want to be that guy. I'm not looking to be Denzel. I don't have that. I want to be that bad actor who people wonder, how does he even have a career? That was always my goal. I missed.
You're like, I could be getting this wrong, but from what I remember, like Terry Crews in Friday.
You know, okay, do I have a minute to
Please.
tell you my Terry Crews story?
Please.
Terry Crews stopped my movie career, okay? Arnold Schwarzenegger did a movie. It was called The Sixth Something. It was about cloning. Mm-hmm. And they had 3 hitmen trying to kill him in the movie, and they would accidentally kill each other. It was a woman and 2 guys. They would accidentally kill each other and be cloned. I had an audition for one, and to me it was hilarious, and I made it funny. And they were like, wow, we never thought of that. And it came down to me and one other guy. And the other guy got it because he was an ex-football player, super muscular. Terry Crews.
God damn it.
That was my shot at a big Schwarzenegger movie. And Terry Crews. So I told him that story when I met him. And he showed me the clip of when he played for the Cincinnati Bengals on a kickoff return. And he said, if you're ever mad at me, just watch this clip where I get knocked the hell out. I mean, he was flattened on the football field, looked like a dead man. He said, just watch that and you'll be okay. So we're cool with it. But yeah, I always say that my movie career ended when his started.
Could have been riding high like Tom Arnold right now.
Yeah, I could have been someone who used to be.
Yeah.
Right?
You were that guy.
I was that guy in The Thing. I could have been the guy who was in The Thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more, Gina.
All right. Well, let's end with Antonio Brown, shall we? This is an odd claim, and you'll see why in a moment. He claims that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tried to bribe him to go to a mental health facility after the dispute with coach Bruce Arians caused him to strip off his uniform and leave during a game. Brown appeared on HBO's Real Sports and said, "These guys at Tampa Bay Bucks tried to make an agreement with me to give me $200,000 to go to the crazy house so these guys could look like they knew what they were talking about." Brown's attorney added that they're considering suing the Bucks for defamation over the false claim of his mental health. Like, they wanted him to get better so bad, they offered him money.
Yeah, why
and
is
he twisted it.
Well, first off, there's no sign that says crazy house in front of the facility, you know. It's
the booby patch.
Yeah, it's got to have some name, like Encounters or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's some euphemistic something. They're trying to get the guy help. Why is that damning to them?
And he thinks he's coming out with this gotcha moment. Like, oh, do you want to hear what they did?
They try to get you help because
damning.
they'd like you to play.
Yeah.
And Brady didn't really have too many receivers at the end.
Yeah, Antonio Brown's one of those guys that he doesn't have any friend that's like, stop him. Like, you know what I mean? Stop you from destroying yourself.
I thought that was supposed to be. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or somebody who's like, yo, man, shut up. Like when the Raiders said, wear this helmet or you lose your million. That was a multi-million-dollar contract. He's like, I'm not wearing the helmet. You need that friend who grew up with you and said, hey, man, you used to play without a helmet for free. Put the helmet on. We getting $10 million or whatever it was. You know what I mean? You got to have... You got to have somebody like that in your life. You got to have somebody in your life who can. You're
talking about somebody from way back, which makes sense. I thought from some of the podcasts and news stuff I'd listened to, that's what Tom Brady was supposed to do. You know, kind of look after him and take him under his wing, but he can only do so much.
On the field.
Yeah.
Tom didn't in the locker room, and that's probably
Tom didn't want to switch helmets either. when Antonio was on the Raiders, they're trying to update everyone's helmet, and the old school guy's like, I like my old helmet. It's the one I won 6 Super Bowls with, and I think Tom didn't want to switch over either, so he would have had a hard time convincing Antonio to switch. But yeah, he was supposed to go to Tampa, get under Tom's sort of sane wing, and he was going to guide him to another Super Bowl. Well, he got him one, right? He was last year.
Yeah,
must have been
he got
on
one. But that was like when Dennis Rodman was out there. Like there was one guy, I can't remember who it was, but they kept him on the team because he was friends with Dennis.
Right.
Like that kept him in the league. Like they were like, yeah, when you sign
He was like
Dennis,
whatever Turtle is an entourage.
Right. Yeah,
like he doesn't do anything.
Sign this
but
guy because he can talk to Dennis.
He was Rob Kardashian during the OJ trial.
Right. Yes, the peacekeeper.
A friend, yeah.
Well, will he ever be back in the league, Alonzo?
Yeah, if he can, the league forgives because football, of all the sports, football's like, hey, can you play today? We'll sign you. And especially now with like COVID and players, we need a receiver for this Sunday. Yeah, he'll get another shot. And you don't have to pay him anything. He has to play for league minimum. It's not like he's making millions now. You say, listen, we were going to give $200,000 to the crazy house, but we'll give it to you.
The thing about the, when like a woman is hot, all is always forgiven. They always get like another boyfriend, another shot. When a dude is fast, there's always a place for him. Yep. If you're really fucking afterburner fast, they'll find room for you somewhere. If you can stretch that field, that's just a God-given thing. Like if you're really fast, you can play. You slow down, then you're out of the league. As long as his speed, as long as he's able to maintain his speed, he'll find a home somewhere. The second he loses a step, then we'll become very concerned about his mental condition. Right. And that's the way it works. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, Alonzo Bowden, everyone, Helium Comedy Club. That'll be March 3rd through the 5th, and you can check out his podcast, Alonzo Bowden. Who's paying attention? And you can just go to his website, Alonzo Bowden, 2 D's and an E and an N there, .com to find out where he's going to be. Me, I'm everywhere, so just go to AdamCarolla.com, taping a couple shows with Bill Shatner and Dennis Quaid coming up in Brea on February 6th, and then Be in Kansas City doing shows March 11th and 12th, and Genesee Theater in Waukegan, Illinois on March 10th, and Spokane and Tacoma before that. Just go to adamcarolla.com, and you can pre-order my new book as well, too, adamcarolla.com. So, till next time, Adam Carolla for Gina Grand, Alonzo Bowden saying mahalo. Person turning left in front of you 150 feet,
Right.
that's going to get you.
So unless your bike, the ones that are so loud, they set off the car alarms and stuff like that. But then I've been around it. You do not want to sit on something that loud. That's when you're pretending you're cool, but you're really like, fuck, I'm deaf. I can't hear a thing.